On the 2nd of February of 1959, in the Halachachal mountain pass, crossing the tribal areas of the Mansi tribe, 9 skilled Soviet hikers, led by Igor Dyatlov, have met their untimely end. The mysterious death of these 9 Soviet hikers has quickly become one of the most shocking mysteries in the USSR, and it is still actively discussed in the ex-Soviet countries to this day. The puzzling and the macabre aspects of this incident has caused people to create all sorts of theories of what actually happened on that fateful night. In January of 1959, the athletic club of the Ural Polytechnic Institute has greenlighted the winter trekking event that was meant to be the final test for every member of Dyatlov's group on their path to earn the rank of the Master of Sports, the highest Soviet rank for the proficiency in an athletic discipline. Unfortunately, that test did indeed turn out to be their final, for entirely different reasons. At the time though, the members of the group were delighted to have been given the opportunity to prove themselves, each being young and enthusiastic about achieving the title of Master of Sports and getting the permission to teach their own groups in the future. The group was tasked to navigate 300 kilometers around the northern Sverdlovsk region and reach 2 mountain tops of the northern Ural, more specifically the mountains known as Otorten and Oika-Chakur. For this task they had a very strict time limit of around 16 to 18 days max, which on paper did sound rather reasonable. Initially, there were 13 members who were presented for this task. However, 4 of them ended up not qualifying due to various reasons. For the motives of safety though, on the 23rd of January, the committee has decided to include Semyon Zolotaryov as well, who was a veteran and already a master of the sport. Zolotaryov was quite an interesting character. He was much older than the rest of the group by over 10 years. He has served in the World War II, and apparently, depending on the documents, he was referred to by 2 names, Semyon and Alexander. This little detail added much confusion to the investigation later on. So, in total, the final group consisted of 10 members, 2 of which were women. 3 members of the group, Georgy Krivonishenko, Nikolai Thibault-Birniol, and Rustem Slobodin, were freshly graduated from the Ural Polytechnic Institute and were looking ahead to quickly finishing the task, getting their qualifications, and getting to work on their new coaching positions. Curiously, Georgy Krivonishenko has previously worked in a close city called Chelyabinsk 40 and was a witness to a big accident related to a huge radiation leak at that place, and he was also a participant of the cleaning operation. That accident in the closed city of Chelyabinsk 40 has been the first nuclear disaster in the USSR, and in magnitude it is currently ranked number 3 after Chernobyl and Fukushima 1. Rustem Slobodin has also worked in a closed entity called the Chelyabinsk Research Institute, which was dedicated to new chemicals and biological research, the research of which is still highly classified. It is indeed a very interesting group of characters which were brought together by fate or something else. The active participation in the secret project developments of both Slobodin and Krivonishenko has led to the creation of many conspiracy theories in regards to what comes next. Even though Vladislav Karelin, one of the top authority figures in this particular sport, considered every member of the Dyatlov's group as high-ranking professionals, the reality of the situation was rather grim. According to Sergei Korgin, a fellow student and a friend of Igor Dyatlov and several other participating members, the group lacked a lot of essential equipment. Their tents were not designed to withstand strong winter winds and snow. They didn't receive military-grade warm jackets as they were promised. And perhaps the most important of all, they lacked the radio equipment, which was usually recommended. As a result, the members of the group had to pack by themselves, and it was confirmed that they lacked uniformity, as all their individual bags and equipment were discovered inside their tent. The Dyatlov's group commenced their journey on the 23rd of January. They started off by taking a train from Sverdlovsk city to Serov, which was a city to the north of the Sverdlovsk region. According to the diary of Zinaida Kalmagarova, the boys were very enthusiastic about the trip. They were singing many songs, making plans, and have promised that they would avoid tobacco during the entire trip. She was writing all that as everybody was sleeping, and their train was getting deeper into the taiga. On the morning of January 24th, the group has arrived to the city of Serov, where they spent a night in the local school and gave a brief lecture to the students. They made the preparations for the next step of their journey and slept early that night. On the next day, they headed to a small logging town where they have spent their last night in a relative comfort, as on the very next morning their real trial would finally begin. They have woken up early and commenced their planned route on foot. While en route, one of the participants, Yuri Yudin, has suddenly felt a sharp and a persistent pain in his left leg. He still persevered for as much as he could, until eventually letting the team know that he could not continue. As a result, in the morning of 28th of January, after spending only one day on the actual journey, Yuri Yudin has left the group and went back to the town, but not before passing on his rations and warm clothes. According to Yuri Yudin, the only surviving member of the group, he felt very disappointed in himself and felt guilty for not being there to help his comrades in a time of need. Ironically though, that pain was what saved his life. And that's where the facts end. Everything which happens after this point is basically reconstructed using the diaries, photos, using common sense and imagination. According to the diary of Nikolai Thibault-Brignol, the first night in the tent was rather smooth. They managed to install a portable oven made by Igor Dyatlov himself, reinforce their tent, and prepare a dinner. During the dinner, most of the group discussions were about romantic topics and love, which has led some to speculate that the group's downfall was partially due to the competition among men for the affection of the two female members. But more on that later. Following their task, the Dyatlov's group crossed into the Mansi tribal territory, a mysterious and a fascinating tribe which has remarkably interesting lore and beliefs. They are the natives of the northern Sverdlovsk region. I will go into the details regarding them in the follow-up video. Reaching deep into the Mansi territory, on the 31st of January, the group has arrived to the mountain Khalat Chahal. Khalat Chahal can be literally translated as a dead mountain, as nothing ever grows there, only light moss, and it is traditionally avoided by the Mansi themselves and their shamans. Reaching the mountain, the group has decided to camp there. However, their first attempt failed due to the strong winds. As a result, they had to descend and make a temporal camp there. Nevertheless, on the 1st of February, they have attempted to camp on the Bold Mountain once again. Once the strong winds have subsided, they have managed to build a camp without many issues, and for additional safety, they have reinforced the tent with their skis and many spikes. Unfortunately, that was their last night, as the very next day, something inexplicable and terrible has occurred. Something that has led to many speculations, with new theories forming to this day. In the next video I will continue with their story, as well as show you some interesting new information which was recently revealed. Additionally, I want to go into the Mansi lore and culture, as some Mansi natives have their own theory of the events. Until then, remember to stay strong, stay healthy, and to never neglect knowledge. Peace out.